the Don't Judge Me But podcast. I am your girl, Simply Bree, aka Sabrina. If this is your first time joining the platform, please make sure that you click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you know when we're going live. But most importantly, sit back, relax. If you have questions, post them in the chat and I will make sure that I bring them up. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get started.
On the Don't Judge Me But podcast are the personal opinions of the host and do not reflect the opinions of its employers, sponsors, advertisers, endorsers, or any third party. The information provided on the podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered as professional medical or legal advice. It is advisable to consult with a qualified professional for any medical or legal concerns. In other words, have fun, people.
Dawn is good enough for them ducks. Is good enough for the ship.
But then when you're in your phone, you're like this, smiling and stuff. Like,
yeah.
What
Let me
you
hold
got
that.
going on?
Let me hold that.
Or even just wanting access to your partner's phone. Like, why? Why do you want access?
You know why you want access.
You want to be heartbroken.
You want to go through them DMs to see who they talking to. That's why.
You know what? If my girl was a toe sucker, or if she wanted me to do it, I probably would, but there would be strict protocols before that toe went in my mouth. I mean, I would probably have to like carry her to the bed. You know what I'm saying?
Because once the foot hit the floor, it's all over.
It's dirty.
All right, and we are back once again. Welcome, Miss Atlanta Thick Dream. I appreciate you taking some time out to answer some questions that I have for you regarding the poly lifestyle. Before we get started, please let the people know who you are, what do you have going on, and how can they contact you?
Hi, everyone. I am the Love Goddess, aka Yvette Johnson, Miss Atlantic Dream from MissAtlanticDream.com. What I got going on right now is being in alignment with my authentic true self as MissAtlanticDream.com as a web diva. Please believe her, whether that is creating yummy art and expressions, an intimacy coach, voiceover, holding space for the masculine, or just owning my own ish as a feminine goddess.
Yes, I love it. Please believe her. When she says she is doing it, she is definitely doing it. So, all right, let's just dive into it because on our last episode on Sunday, which the title was, is polyamory for you? I admitted that I would definitely dabble into the lifestyle. So right now, what I am doing is I am doing my research. And just the research alone, I feel like I don't know if a lot of people actually do research before they dive into an alternative lifestyle. Sometimes I feel like they just jump in there. So for you, what was your experience like? Did you just jump in there, or was this a discussion with you and your partner? Like, how did it happen?
Actually, I did the research. I was on my spiritual journey after I became polyamorous, but I've always felt like I was ever since I was in high school. I don't know why. I always
Mm,
did because for me it was because these guys are not being honest. I knew that I'm attracted to more than one person. And then when
mhm,
I became a whole wife and being in a mono marriage, and when that, as I shared previously, that went south and we outgrew each other, it was not a good reason to
right,
stay together, but to raise our family, is
right.
to be polyamorous and have our marriage open. So yes, I did research just like I did research on my spiritual path and things about intimacy, and about the yummy bodies that we have. Yes, I did research, but I didn't do the how can I say this? I knew where I wanted to belong
Hmm.
and I aligned with that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
those people gravitated to me, the people that I love so much that are in the polyamorous lifestyle, they
Mm,
gravitated to me once I realized what it is that I wanted. I wanted really to be a part of a family. And we don't have to necessarily have what is it, Friendsgiving and all that together or
right.
whatever,
Yeah.
but your kid's graduating and that kid's graduating. We come to each
Mhm.
other's birthday party or something's going on. We're like the distant family, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah, I love it. I that just the togetherness, right? I feel like that's just healthy all in itself. Of course, it would come with its own issues though, because at the end of the day, we're dealing with multiple people, multiple personalities that you have to adjust to, and then their own lifestyles that they brought into this relationship. So for me, I feel like that's where I'm at now and trying not to rush through the process,
Yeah,
and please believe me, jumping into a Facebook group and announcing that you're new to the
because
lifestyle.
you joined
Listen,
and went
listen,
in. They thought you was going in head first, right?
guys,
Okay, that I kind of figured that anyway. So I was like,
I
mm-hmm.
was like,
And I didn't
okay. I
warn you.
mean, being invited all right out the gate, being invited into people's marriages and relationships, it was overwhelming. And it was overwhelming because it was just like, I don't even know what I'm getting myself into, but already you're trying to pour me into your relationship. So,
Yeah.
what advice would you have for someone like myself who is trying to learn more about it without really partaking in the relationships out the gate?
Do exactly what you're doing. Take notes. Be very observant.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there was a situation where I went to my first poly family party and I'm in the middle or don't listen to her, da 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 da, and you shouldn't listen to her, that type of thing. So you
Mhm.
gotta feel you're gonna have to eventually go to an event, meet and greet or whatever, and feel people
Right.
out and see what it is. Yes, you're gonna hear all types of chatter about this, that, and the third, but you're gonna have to just like any social group, you gotta make up
Mhm.
who 'cause it can be in a way because you gotta think about it, it's a family and it's a lifestyle. It's very cliquish, it can be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's up to you how much involvement you wanna be in that clique.
Right. Now, when we talk about involvement, let's say, there are different, as I'm learning, guys, there's different dynamics, is what is referred to, different types of relationships within that lifestyle. And so the one that caught my eye, at least at first, was the V um, dynamic where you have the hinge. Girl, listen to me in these words. You have the hinge that is at the base of the relationship, and you're basically involved in two separate relationships with two different people who will not really have any type of encounter with one another, as you would think threesome is not really a threesome. You are the primary partner, and you have partner A and you have partner B. Partner A and B are aware of one another, they know
Yeah.
that they exist, but there's no, hey, let's all hang out together type
Yeah.
of thing. That does not happen. So at first, I thought, well, that would probably be a good lifestyle for me. But then the monogamous side of me was like, but I don't want them seeing other people either. Like, you're just gonna see me and me
Oh.
only, right? And so what I learned was that's not fair.
Right,
That's
yeah.
not fair to have that type of
That's
mindset
that
in
ego
a
actually
relationship.
too.
Yes,
You gotta
yes.
share that's one thing I will encourage you is this it's gonna be a lot of spiritual work, ego work, and you as a
Mhm,
woman, that's I commend you for doing that because some of the men that get into this do not do the inner work.
mhm.
They do not.
Listen,
And some
honey.
women don't either. I've heard stories where, say, for instance, I at one point I was putting out an application to do content with someone, and it happened to be
Mhm,
somebody who was poly, they're open.
mhm.
And I heard that their partner was crying outside on the set. She was okay, gave him permission and everything, but she had a meltdown outside on the set when he was in there in the scene with the woman. Okay?
Wow.
But from what I'm seeing on the book, she's progressed and they're doing good.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't get a chance to shoot, but
Right, right. Yeah.
it's
It's like,
okay
we're gonna
though.
have
It's
to take a
okay.
rain check on this one.
Yeah,
Just come
I'm
back
I
later.
wouldn't go in that way, energetically.
Right.
That's too much confusion, and I
Yeah.
get it. Remember we talked about before,
Mhm.
like the main or like you said, that person that's holding, they can say,
Right.
"No, babe, no, you don't have to do this. We do not have to do this."
Right. And
And
it's th
yeah.
that's what I love so much about the lifestyle is the awareness that they have for someone else's emotions and their mental state, and the fact that it's just all about transparency. Like,
Yes.
you can have a partner and express to your partner that you're interested in, interacting with someone else or going out on a date with someone else. And it's just, I feel like when we look at the monogamy and we look at the polyamory and you compare the two, you try to tell your one partner in a monogamous relationship, hey, I'm interested in going out on a date with someone else. And it's going to be a problem. It's gonna be a problem, it's gonna be a discussion, and it's gonna be a lot of questioning of, "Well, what is it about me that I'm lacking that where they would want to go out on a date with someone else?" So they might have interest
Yeah, they
in
take it.
someone else.
Yeah, it does. It gets personal.
Right.
It
Right.
gets personal, and something just dropped into my mind when you
Mhm.
said something. I had a former lover who we were out and we were in Charlotte for his birthday, right? And so there was this really fine guy that walked past, and I just felt his energy, and I was like, ooh, I had a moment like, ooh,
Yeah,
and he saw my reaction, and
yeah,
a part of me was embarrassed, and he was like,
yeah,
no, it's okay. He's a nice looking brother, it's
yeah.
okay to feel that way. He's a nice looking brother and he's very hetero. Now,
Mhm.
how do you feel when men say that to you? Have you had a man check you? Well, not really check you, but really notice your reaction to other men?
Yeah, but it's never been a good one. It's a question of, what are you looking at? Like what's the problem? Like, "Oh, you wanna be with him or something?" It becomes an argument. Like,
Yeah, I've had
I
that too.
haven't. And then, the interesting thing about it though, right, is I feel like in a relationship, when it's just a mono relationship, if a woman looks at another woman, the man's completely down with it. He's okay with it. But you look at a man, another man, and it's a problem. Why is that? Why? And even let's go a step even further. Why do you think the perception of the polyamorous lifestyle to a lot of people is, oh, it's just a big orgy. It's just a bunch of women. Like a man can go out there and sleep with a whole bunch of women, and that's all it is.
Because there's still patriotic rooted in some of that. You know that, right? That
Mm,
toxic masculinity is rooted in
mhm.
some of it. And like I said, a lot of them are not doing their work and there's a lot of stigma behind it and the whole body count and
Yeah,
yeah, all of that comes into play, I believe.
yeah. So now let's talk about sticky situations.
Sticky situations. Like, we wanna get a segue.
Right. Let's talk about these dynamics where you go in thinking it's going to be one thing and you guys have discussed it's just going to be, yeah, you can sleep with her, you can sleep with me. Um Separate households, like nesting. You have a nesting partner and everything's okay. But what happens when someone gets pregnant in this triad, or even is that a V relationship where you have a nesting partner?
Okay. One, if there's an agreement in this triad, right?
Mhm.
And she broke or she got pregnant, it was the agreement that she was coming in as the what? The lover to the guy, right?
Right, yeah.
And she got pregnant. Once she broke the agreement of the relationship. I've seen that happen with friends, and
Really?
it isn't always pretty. It is not always pretty. Um, and what was your question? I'm sorry.
So, I mean, so what happens in that situation, though? Like, what happens with the whole relationship?
He's torn. And now he's in two separate households,
Yeah.
raising two separate families. Now, there's a guy here that I met before I became Miss Atlantic Dream. They all got pregnant and they all was living together. I don't even remember this guy. This guy had it
What?
going on. You hear me? Yes. Yes.
Wow. So, are there any of course, are there any health risk when it comes to being in these different type of dynamic relationships? And Miss Reese says, "Girl, that happened to me. Remember that dream?"
Ooh, yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
Miss
Yeah.
Reese, girl, we might pull
Yes.
you up here for a story time.
Yes, and I know when that happened, and the main male was not the main 2 couple.
Yeah.
He said, "Let's bring in this other woman to spice it up," whatever. and they spoke and talked about it. She was like, "Okay, cool. Let's spice up the relationship."
Yeah.
And when they bring this woman in, they set down some rules with her,
Mhm.
and then she ended up getting pregnant. However, she got pregnant, and now this man is split between homes. He has the daughter,
Wow.
he has kids over here. And
Yeah.
their kids are not commuting in between, they're not communing together.
Right. Because that
So,
wasn't
yeah,
part of the setup. Like that wasn't even supposed to exist.
that was not supposed to happen at all. And it makes it
So
even more complicated.
yeah, because now you have this, like you said, the two families basically, but the woman, the primary woman in this relationship, who is now having to live with the fact that her and her man agreed to spice things up and it wasn't including another family.
Yeah.
And a constant reminder that, when
And
he
resentment.
leaves, exactly. Like,
Reminder, resentment, regret.
yeah. She said, yes, it's terrible. And see, kids never seen each other.
Never.
See. So, I mean, is there any way, any recovery from that? Like, can the relationship itself continue to survive without
No.
the reminder
Because
other
there's
than the
no
kids?
full transparency. Yes, he
Mm,
wants to obviously deal with 2 households, but how is he going to get in a legal marriage with the main woman now? Because he has
right.
engaged to her. He
Yeah,
hasn't proposed to her.
right. Ooh, I remember I remember when I was married and my ex-husband now, um, he wanted to spice things up. Now, I'm heterosexual, and I was young, but I was like, "Okay, you know what?" Just like Miss Reese wanting to appease him, I said, "Okay, I agreed." And I was like, "I have to find the woman." So I thought the easiest way, seeing how I am into the mental, the easiest way was just to go online and start chatting with females, befriend them. And I found one. She was cool. We were going to meet up. And here I was trying to be transparent with my husband. And I told him, hey, I found this girl. She and I are going to meet up and just hang out just to see how things are around one another. And he flipped the script.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. Cancel the whole idea. Like, no. So yeah, how poly can go wrong. Yeah. Going into poly, you have to understand why you're doing it. And I
There you
asked
go.
that in the group. Why? What is it about the lifestyle that attracted you to it? Why did you
Yes.
go into it?
And it's not going if you have a cheater, that's not gonna solve your marriage. If you have someone who is not paying the bills or who struggles, who lies, habitually,
Mhm.
they're gonna
Mhm.
continue lying habitually.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
not going to fix that person nor that relationship. They're
Right.
still gonna be who they are, maybe to the 10th power even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Reckless
Going
at
into
that.
right, because the foundation has to be solid in whatever dynamic and whatever agreements you have in that relationship, they have to be like vows, and you have to take that relationship seriously like you take your prayers, and the
Mhm.
things that you contracts that you sign for, it
Right.
has to be taken that seriously because a lot of people get in relationships, they're not serious. They're just going about it and being comfortable, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And making contracts because it's financially, it's a business deal for them.
Yes, I've heard that plenty of times. Eh,
Oh,
I've heard that plen plenty of times. I've heard that being, going into it with the mindset of this is my business partner. But what happens when the business folds?
right. What
Then what?
happens? You got a house that you can't sell. You got a person that you can't have sex with, you can't touch,
Mhm.
and
Ooh,
you have all these, lonely days, lonely nights, and these yearnings that you want to have, and you're just with someone that's simply your roommate.
that's it. Y'all bunkies. That's my bunkie.
And then if you got babies,
That's the babysitter.
yeah,
Mm.
that's my babysitter, that's my baby dad, that's my baby mama.
Just my baby mama. So, how speaking of kids, how do you Miss Reese, if you don't mind me asking, how old are your kids? Because my thing is, how do you inform your children of your lifestyle, or if you do at all? How do you introduce them to seeing other people on a regular basis, if it's a nesting partner or if it's a situation where all of you guys live together?
Well, we just giving her a minute, but I can know her history. Her children are in elementary school,
Okay.
and I've often encouraged her to date, but she's remained faithful to the primary relationship.
Yeah.
But I've encouraged her to date outside of him because he goes and commutes and does his thing, with that other family.
Right. So is it in this situation, is it a monopoly relationship where she's monogamous to him, but he's
She is very
polyamorous?
monogamous.
Miss Reese, gotta love you, girl.
Yes, she is a trooper. I
Wow.
mean, a trooper, and at the end of the day, she's a single mom with a baby
Mhm.
daddy that she loves so much, and she really wants to be in a monogamous relationship, not
Yeah.
polyamorous with him.
I wonder how that would affect dating going forward, because you were in a relationship and you wanted to, spice up the relationship with your partner. Meanwhile, it was still monogamous, but you wanted to spice things up. And then that went sour. How do you look at monogamous relationships going forward? 9 and 11.
At some point, right? Doesn't it put a damper on
Right,
you?
like, bro,
Because that's
that
me.
could be the reason why you stick with the same person, because at least you know what BS they have going on and what you're getting yourself
The
into.
familiarity.
Yeah,
They they
yeah,
they know my ports.
yeah. And you don't have to open up to someone else
The
and.
vulnerability.
Yes,
But are
exactly.
we living our true primal, sexual, sensual, authentic selves when we're living like that? Think about it.
Right. You can't, in a sense.
Right. You
You
can't.
can't. And
You're
see, that
denying
was
yourself.
right, that was the other thing. That was the reason why I had took a step back from getting to know other people who were poly, because what I noticed is the way that they were coming at me, it was more so they were looking for me to fulfill their relationship gaps
Right.
versus what is it that I want?
And we
They
talked
don't
about
even
that.
know. That don't even matter.
Sound like they need some pleasure centered type of coaching.
Right. And then the feeling of being disposable
See,
afterwards,
she said you have to cut ties off. This is a one-way poly situation. Right.
Yeah, so monopoly. She said she over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's gonna take because they have the children and then, they have that whole thing
Mhm.
going on for years. It's like a weaning process. And then you have to grieve them. You know that, right?
Yeah,
Like waiting.
listen, waiting to exhale literally.
Right.
Like
Cut your
literally.
hair, dye your hair, burn something. Okay.
Girl, travel the world
Scream, do all that.
and just have some strong sisterhood surround
Yeah,
you.
that's what we were talking about this morning. The sisterhood is so important. It's like this is not stuff you tell your homeboys. Get you a strong sister circle. And
Yep.
then the fellas, y'all still gotta do the work. Let's say, fellas,
Yeah.
y'all still gotta do the work. I know, I know, I know.
Hmm. Hmm. Nobody
Because the
wants to.
more education we get, the more healing we get. Think about it. Then we got Mr. Dusty coming over here.
And you like, if you don't get your dusty out,
Right.
and it's not fair. It's not
No.
fair when you do the work. You invest in yourself. You take that time to grow and make yourself a little bit more knowledgeable of whatever it is that you want. And then you have Dusty Rusty, who don't know what he want. He going with the flow, coming over, invading your space, and then accusing you of being self-centered simply
Messing
because you
with
don't
your
want to give them the
pH.
time of the day. Listen. Yes, totally waiting to exhale situation, having a good support is so necessary. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it helps with your recovery,
Yes.
um, and especially when you know that they're non-judgmental. Like it's gonna be some tough love.
Yeah.
We all need tough love at the
Yes.
end of the day. They're gonna tell you where you went wrong, but
Yes.
the thing is, you sometimes have to hit your head. before you realize, okay, this is what I don't want, and going forward, I'm not going to settle for that. I'm not going to allow myself, I'm not going to devalue myself to make somebody else feel good in the relationship.
And I say, "You gonna do this, girl?" And she probably heard me say this time and time again. "You gonna ride it till the wheels fall off." And I think the wheels have fallen the fuck off.
Mm. Hey, it'll in all time when it's supposed to happen, it's gonna happen. So now another
Yeah.
question that I had, right? In thinking about the different dynamics and the situations and the combinations that we have out there, I was like, they usually have two women and a man. That's the typical type of
Mhm,
relationship, right? What
mhm.
about two men and one woman?
They
And
do, but, you know, they ain't standing out like the traditional, like you said,
mhm,
poly dynamic.
mhm.
Look, I'm looking for that chat I was telling you about.
You said the chat off the hook right now.
Yeah. I didn't even know I was in that
Um,
chat. Okay.
okay, here's one. Does your wife have veto power over your partner? So I was looking at one chat and they were saying some of the questions that you need to be asking the couple before you get involved. One of the questions was, does your wife have veto power over your partners, and will you honor and uphold your wife's veto even if you do not agree? So if the wife was like, I ain't feeling this no more, cut it off, is he going to allow that to happen, or is he going to stick up for you? That's the question that they're saying you should be asking before getting involved. What do you think about that
Yes.
question?
Y'all, I don't get in those dynamics. You know that with the V situation. But that is true. But yes, y'all, what Bree is saying, if you are considering getting into the poly lifestyle where there is a married couple, we ain't talking about y'all in a spiritual marriage or whatever. We talking
Mhm.
about a legally married couple, and there is a wife who has veto power. You need to ask. Are
Right,
you going to, if she doesn't like, right? If she doesn't like me, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna cut
right,
it right off? Or are we gonna try to win her over some way? You know?
right.
But Kenya says something. Kenya Stevens, she's the one that was on the one that was on TLC. She's
Okay.
part of Progressive Love Academy. It was
Mhm,
something that she was, and I brought this quote out this week that she said regarding relationships and being the other, whatever.
mhm.
Uh something that she said out of the quote. It says, what we need to do is have a safe and proper container and be open and honest about our needs and desires.
Mm, yes. Miss Reese says Kenya is one of them with two men and one man. People have so many things to say about her
Yes, they do.
situation. You know why? Because it's not the norm.
There you go.
It's
And
not
if
the
it is a
norm.
norm, women of color are not speaking on it. You understand?
Hmm.
Because they don't want the stigma.
Juju mama.
You know what they were saying in the comments? I know her stuff is ran through. I know her box is all messed up. Okay. Okay. So
But
why
they're
his
not the ones. Yeah, not anything about the men,
the
but
whole
something about her.
Jezebel and the whole, that whole stigma that
Yeah.
she ran through, her boxes messed up, yada yada, this, that, and the third. Yes, I read through the comments because Stormy,
Uh-huh.
Coach Stormy Wellington had said something, and it was something about she was looking for another husband, right, Sister
Mhm.
Reese? And her comments went ham. When I say ham, her comments went ham. They were saying all types of things that were rooted in shame, toxic masculinity, all that stigma that we are talking about in this type of poly dynamic. Yes, they would talk all kinds of crazy. And
But
I had to unfollow
but the thing is, why is it an issue when it's a woman looking for another husband, but it's not an issue when it's a husband looking for another wife?
because there's Christianity involved and they believe in taking on certain aspects and things in the womb and the body and all that, and yeah, all that good stuff, that shame, that did I say
Yeah,
patriarchy, misogyny, and all that good stuff is rooted in all that.
gotcha. Mm, gotta love it, right?
Yeah.
Um, I had posted on my TikTok, I had posted the flyer that we'd be talking about this, and I had someone comment, and I can't say verbatim, but he
Okay.
basically was stating that he wished the amount of energy that people put into researching alternative lifestyles, they would put that into researching monogamous relationships. And I thought about it for a second, and I said, wait a minute. All of these damn podcasts, all of these damn TV shows are
Yeah.
based on monogamous relationships. All of them. You don't see mainstream shows talking about how to make your polyamorous relationships work. Everything has been based on monogamy.
And
By
celebrating the pursuit of women
Mhm.
and the man bagging the woman.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. There
I
you
mean,
go.
go figure. What's up, Mr. Sweat? Shout outs to our host, Mr. James Sweat himself. Yeah, it's like it's double standards. Either way you look at it. Because why is it a problem? Why is it a problem if anybody wants to research an alternative lifestyle? If it's not affecting you directly, and that's what I live by. If it does not affect me directly, why do I care?
Mm-mm. It don't hurt you. It's my thing. It can only help you in getting the aid that you need going forward. It's not going to hurt you because
Mhm,
you want to have more knowledge on something that you are considering because
mhm.
it's going to benefit you as a whole. How could it
Right,
hurt you other
right,
than Sky Daddy, punishing you and people around you that really don't probably fuck with you anyway, saying some shit about you,
right.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. They're
My
gonna
thing
talk
is
about you next.
you've already talked to your mom, if you talk to your
Yep.
kids and people in your tribe, that's all that fucking matters. That's
Yeah,
all that matters.
yeah. What kind of shun have you received when you talk to people or you come out and say that, hey, I live the poly lifestyle? What kind of reactions have you gotten?
Well, my aunt thought that I was still with one of my lovers. "Are you still seeing the cop? Are you still" like, I was still, like, stuck in that dynamic, that's one.
Yeah.
And then, talking about HIV and all this other kind of disease and things of that nature, knowing that I get tested on the regular,
Right.
all that stuff. And talking about the lovers that may be presented to me, doctoring up their results and stuff. Be careful, they could possibly go in the portal and do all that. Yes. And what else?
What? People
Shame of
can
it.
do that anyways.
That anywhere, at any for anything, for life insurance, they do it all the time.
Right.
But that's with anything, in any situation, poly or not. And what else? Uh, I can say the shame is not really with my cousins and my family because I come from a family that is pretty poly, if you will. But
Mhm.
and they don't really give a shit like that.
Mhm.
But it's just the men, the lovers. My homegirls, no, they don't give a damn. It's just the partners that are monogamish, the
Right.
shame and all that good stuff. And they have a tendency to do this thing when I'm open. Do you not know it's like my transparency causes them to get in their ego?
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
why? You weren't trying to be consistent anyway. So what's the
Right.
sister supposed to do? Collect dust?
Somebody
You
got to
know?
knock the cobwebs off.
And I've had cobwebs many seasons. So,
Child.
and so that's the reason why I chose to do things more spiritual and walk with a clear mind, not just wet draws and not thinking and just but
Mhm.
I've had a lot from the partners, not the never the friends, because I put myself, remember I said my tribe, I
Mhm.
planted
Mhm.
myself around the people that accept me for who I am and what I do.
Right.
My family,
Right.
like I said, don't really give a darn. It's the new.
Mhm. Those are the ones that are gonna give you the challenges. So I absolutely adore what I've learned so far. Of course, you have to use discernment to pick and
Mhm.
choose the people that you engage with, but for the most part, I mean, I see the benefits outside of the intimacy. Like, I haven't even tackled anything dealing with intimacy yet, but I see the benefits of being able to live in your truth, be your authentic self, be free. I think for me, that's the most exciting part is being free, being able to tell, someone, "Hey, I'm interested in this person," or "I'd like to try this," and not feel any guilt about it. Not wonder, "Oh, what are they gonna think?" This lifestyle really gives you the armor to say, "I don't give a two flying about what they think."
And another stigma, just if it's
Mhm.
okay, is that they think that you cannot be in a monogamous relationship.
Mm.
Once you say
Yeah.
that you're a poly lover,
Mhm.
yeah, they think that you're gonna be a cheater, which is not true. Monogamous is more, okay, I make the choice, I'm gonna be with this person.
Right.
It's not like I'm gonna wake up and say, I'm gonna go, screw 3 niggas. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm gonna go over there,
That's my to-do list.
you know? I mean, for
Yeah.
some, it could be very well a truth. And if that's your
Right.
truth, that's your truth. If you say this weekend, I'm gonna go fuck 4 niggas, I'm going, that's
Yeah.
your truth. But I'm saying people think that, but they think that you cannot be.
I can't with you.
That's your truth. If that's what you want to do, girl, I'm gonna rob you. Listen, girl, give me the deep call. Let me know.
Listen, because I could just be who that person is anyways. It
Yes,
ain't got nothing to do with a lifestyle.
that
That's
part.
just who they are.
That part.
Yeah, the gobbler.
And so some people that live like that still aren't polyamorous. They're just free spirits and they're just doing whatever they want to do. But when
Right.
people put you in like a coupleship situation, some of them
Mhm.
think that you cannot be, true to the relationship. And that's not true. Like, okay, and I can't share this. So there's this guy that over the summer I was getting acquainted with, right?
Mhm.
And it's little rift happened between the two of us, and I think that he was talking to somebody, right?
Yeah.
And so I told you about the woman on the phone and all that stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
shared with him that I had intimacy with
Mhm.
someone. And so now, but he's like, "Oh, you did this, and that." Yeah, damn right I did. Damn right. I did. I did. I
Yeah,
did. Didn't go into detail, whatever, even though he wanted the details, right?
of course.
So to have he claims that he wants to have some type of interest with me.
Hmm.
But he thinks that I'm going to be polyamorous or I'm gonna be this and that. "Oh, you poly, you're on the phone with your boyfriend." And I
Oh,
and
boy.
and I've already pegged him as he fronting, this ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
He got stuff going on. He could be the dude on the phone. I'm one, we're never gonna meet.
Right.
So you're just a dude on the phone that when I feel like it, we can talk to, you're just that friend. We're not going to meet. But
Yeah.
and he wants to have this whole thing going on, like, "Yeah, we're gonna meet." I said we was gonna meet. Like, if you would have held that pussy, we would have met. But you gave the pussy away. you know,
Now it's a problem. Yeah.
yes. So now there didn't I say stigma? So now there's some
Mhm.
type of stigma or some type of thing. Like I said, he tried to flip it on me.
Yeah.
Like, really? But that's what they do, girl.
It's interesting, because the thing is, if you were never to disclose your lifestyle, would they have something to say? Would their egos need to be stroked so bad? If you just and that's what I kinda wonder, like, is it when we put a label to our lifestyle that people have something to say versus if you're just like, "I'm free. I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm not monogamous, I'm not
And you can do that.
polyamorous, I'm just free."
You can do that. And I consider myself more free spirited anyway. 'Cause people are like, "Oh, she back poly again?" Because I said something on Twitter, "I'm not poly, da, da, da.
Right.
I want something for me, da, da, da." But for me, I'm just free flowing, it's whatever. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my 6.5 months caught up right now. That's my tunnel
Mhm.
vision and my focus of
Mhm.
on being on a love drop.
Mhm.
So, relationship dynamic for me right now is just like, it's whatever the universe, and I'm rocking with it. It comes, that's
Right.
in alignment with me. So I get it.
Yeah.
I don't have to
Yeah.
have label of poly or mono.
Right. I had a guy that I met, and I was telling you on the phone. I asked him what was his dynamic, and he said he was single, that he was poly, and I asked him, "Well, what is it that he's looking for?" And I was surprised myself for him to tell me, he has no issue with being in a monogamous relationship or a polyamorous relationship. And I was just like,
I like
wow,
that.
like how would that work? Like it just made me take a
It's
step
like,
back.
"Ooh, when we
Right.
going out? When we going out, girl?"
Listen, like, wow. So it's so much to learn. There's so much to unpack.
I
This is
don't like that
literally,
though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Like,
cool
when
person.
I say I like that, because it's like he's not trying to immediately, like, dude, I was just talking about immediately. He was like,
Mhm.
"What you doing over there on TikTok showing my
Yep.
stuff off?" He's
Mhm.
not trying to control, like, the whole Neanderthal type of,
Right.
male.
Yeah.
'Cause I ain't gonna lie, I do like a man who is protective over me, but not protective over me to the point where I can't feel free flowing in who I am, you know?
Right.
I don't mind a protector, but not like, "You can't do this, and why you letting them do that? Why you" and he asked me this week was, what was the big question? "Oh, when are you gonna stop doing this lifestyle?" And I'm like, What lifestyle? Watching true
Oh
crime
boy.
stories, eating popcorn on the weekend? What? What lifestyle do I live? I'm home
Right.
mostly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean? Be
Mm.
specific, sir.
Yeah. It's that challenge, not them not wanting to feel threatened by another man's presence and the
Yeah.
possibility of someone else stepping in and taking their place. So it's the ego and
And he
having to
has and
check the ego.
it is the ego, and he hasn't even made a place, and I get a lot of times that there are men that haven't even made their place, if you will, and
Right.
they still have to check their ego. This guy has that you're talking to right now,
Mhm.
he's coming in with no ego.
Right. Yeah. He's like either
He didn't
or, whichever.
Men come into my lives immediately. "Are you single? Are you just not?" I'm not.
Girl. Yeah. I Let me tell you, I had the funniest thing happen to me today on Snapchat. This guy, we had became friends on Snapchat, and you know, he didn't have a picture. So I said, let me see a picture. You send me a picture. And he told me, I'm his type, and I'm someone that he would want to be with.
Mm.
So I said, "Well, where are you located?" He says, "Savannah." So I said, "Oh, that's kind of far. Like, I don't see how anything, I don't know how you came across my line with you being in Savannah, right?" So then he's like, "Oh, distance wouldn't be an issue. We can talk and get to know each other and we can get into a relationship. And then when I come out there to see you, we can talk about getting married." Girl, I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard.
Whoa,
Cause
whoa there, whoa. They come at me like that. They come at me
it's
like that.
so weird.
I okay. My only instance of being in the young and hung age gap dating,
Mhm.
one of the guys, he was one of my followers, and we did like a tantric sex session over the phone,
Mhm.
and something happened between us, and it clicked, and immediately during climax during the tantric sex, he was like, "Whoa, what is that? I don't know what that is, but I want it. I don't care what you do with your lifestyle, I mean, with your job, but you
Mhm.
could do whatever, your art, as he called it, you can
Mhm.
do that. I don't care. I want you and I want to be with you. I want to make you mine." So instantly, orgasm
Mhm.
made him want
Mhm.
to what?
Lock you down. Possession. I
Yes.
think with monogamy, it's easy to hide your issues under the relationship, whereas with poly, it will all come out if you are not doing the healing work. Yes,
Yes.
I agree with you,
Yes.
because it's easy to blame the failure of a relationship on somebody else.
Yes.
Like if you were doing your half, then I wouldn't have no issue with my half.
There you go.
But poly, everybody plays a role in this. So you know, if it fails, you fail. Everybody else doesn't fail, you fail.
Yeah.
You don't get out of the relationship what it is that you needed in order to grow, whereas everybody else is just blossoming like a flower.
Mhm.
So,
And that does happen because it's like showing you your own ass.
I'm just saying. So with this, you guys, this is part 2 in a series of Is the Polyamory for You? We will try to definitely go at this again next weekend. If you have questions in regards to polyamory, definitely send me a message. You can find me on all platforms. Simply Bree, Simplee. Bree. You can also reach out to Miss Atlanta Thick Dream. Let her know that you've seen her on. You have questions. Tell her, you want her to tell you about her being a goddess and what all that entails. Just reach out to her. So, I appreciate you all coming on. I appreciate you all. Ms. Reese, thank you so much for just sharing with us your situation. I wish you the best.
Keep doing the
Keep
work,
that
girl.
circle going because that's gonna definitely help you get out of that rut that you're in right now. Any last words that you have for the people, Miss Alana?
Rise in love and make sure that you are happy and balanced, and know that pleasure is your birthright.
Pleasure is your birthright. Listen, y'all better get some pleasure this weekend. All right. Well, with that being said, we are signing off. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow on the Don't Judge Me But podcast, where we're talking about power and how power can affect relationships, your social status, and just you as an individual. Okay. So look at all those powerful people that are out there on social media. They're out there in the world. And let's talk about it tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, we'll see you later. Bye.
The dawn is good enough for them ducks. Is good enough for your shit.
When you're in your phone, you're like this, smiling and stuff. Like,
yeah. Let me hold that.
Going on?
Let me hold that.
Or even just wanting access to your partner's phone. Like, why? Why do you want access?
You know why you want access?
You want to be heartbroken.
You want to go through them DMs to see who they talking to. That's why.
If my girl was a toe sucker, or if she wanted me to do it, I probably would, but there would be strict protocols before that toe went in my mouth. I mean, I would probably have to like carry her to the bed. You know what I'm saying?
Because once the foot hit the floor, it's all over.
It's dirty.